The Vira Hines program hosts a recycling event, and Waynesburg University holds their Day of Giving.
Plus, a look at Waynesburg University internship presentations, and the Josh Shapiro administration invests $2 million into manufacturing. All this and more coming up on the Newscast, live at 5.
And now, your 5 o'clock news on Channel 14.
Welcome into WCTV's Newscast live at 5. I'm Meg Berry.
And I'm Mia Hinkins.
Yesterday, the Vira Hines program hosted an event on recycling. The event featured 3 recipients from last year, Isabel Montini, Josiette Palazzino, and Savannah Lopez, who traveled abroad this summer. Each of these recipients had presentations on cultures of the countries that they visited over the summer and different ideas on how to recycle. They also spoke about their educational experiences abroad this past summer. Montini visited Greece, Palazzo went to the United Kingdom, and Lopez traveled to South Korea.
Today was Waynesburg University's Day of Giving. The day is aimed for all athletic and academic departments to raise money for their departments and any upcoming events they have scheduled. If you wish to donate to an athletic or academic department, go to the website link on your screen, www.waynesburg.edu/dayofgiving to donate.
Earlier today, some of Waynesburg University students spoke about their internship experiences from this past summer. 4 students presented their internship experiences in McCancis Auditorium on the 3rd floor of Buell Hall, talking to those who attended about their summer gaining experiences in their respective fields. The presenters were Seth Evans, Will Wilson, Josh Laird, and Emily Lipke. Their full presentations are now uploaded to the WCTV's YouTube page. There will be 4 more presentations next week at 1 p.m. in McCancis Auditorium. Josh Klingon, Ryan Martin, Ron Brown, and Michael McKenzie will be the presenters.
Yesterday, the Shapiro administration made a big commitment to the state's manufacturing industry. Shapiro and the Department of Community and Economic Development announced they would give $2 million in Pennsylvania's manufacturing sector while at an event in Joseph Machine Company in York County. The investment is a big part of the Shapiro administration's economic development strategy aimed to bring manufacturing back up in the state. While at the event, Shapiro said, quote, "I'm proud to invest in their growth and help create as many as 150 manufacturing jobs here in Dillsburg. My administration is focused on getting stuff done and putting points on the board for the good people of Pennsylvania," end quote.
Coming up next, Republicans keep control of the House and President. Biden meets with President-elect Trump in the White House.
Plus more on a Portland ballot box that was set on fire in a Louisville plant explosion. All that next on the Newscast.
Hello and welcome back into the Newscast live at 5. After over a week of counting ballots, Republicans have officially kept control in the House. The GOP's victory came after Republicans were projected to hold 2 House seats in California and Arizona. This gives Republicans a sweep of the federal government with control of the White House and majorities in both chambers of Congress. President-elect Donald Trump will now have a path to enact an agenda that could profoundly change America. The question now will be how large next year's House majorities become and whether the GOP can widen the margin of a handful of seats.
Donald Trump is back in Washington. The president-elect met with President Joe Biden, and the two were expected to discuss the transition process. Our Washington correspondent, Julia Benbrook, is at the White House with more on the visit.
President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump meeting in the Oval Office Wednesday.
Looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition.
It's their first sit-down since Trump secured a second term.
Politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
It's a tradition for the outgoing president to host the incoming commander-in-chief after the election. But Trump did not host Biden in 2020, as he fought the election results based on falsehoods about voter fraud. He also chose to skip Biden's inauguration. Following a disappointing loss for the Democratic Party, Biden has been intentional in his efforts to endorse the sanctity of the election and acknowledge Trump's victory.
Campaigns are contests of competing visions. The country chooses one or the other. We accept the choice the country made.
This meeting comes as Biden works to secure his legacy and Trump prepares to take office, tapping loyalists for key positions that offer a glimpse into how certain policies may be implemented. According to people familiar with Trump's plans, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem will be asked to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and sources say Florida Senator Marco Rubio is his top choice for Secretary of State.
The FBI is offering a $25,000 reward for information that leads to the suspect who set a ballot box on fire in Portland, Oregon. Recently released surveillance video from October 28th shows a person driving up to an official ballot box drop-off and putting an incendiary device on the box. Moments after leaving the scene, flames start to shoot out of the box. A separate ballot box blaze happened on the same night in Vancouver, Washington. According to the FBI statement, officials believe both incidents were done by the same individual. Authorities say the suspect is a white male between 30 and 40 years old with thinning hair.
Louisville, Kentucky mayor provided new information following a factory explosion that injured several people on Tuesday and left 2 dead. Nearby homes were damaged and residents were asked not to touch or remove debris. David Mattingly has the latest on this investigation.
The evidence seems to be everywhere, hanging in trees, scattered across pavement and lawns. Investigators looking for a cause of the explosion have a lot to look through.
What you're basically trying to do is to reconstruct that as best you can, but I'm not going to sit here and guarantee that we're going to be able to point a finger and pinpoint something exactly. But again, these people are good at what they do, and they're going to come up with some good answers.
Getting to those answers safely is the challenge. How to remove and secure the shredded remains of the building so investigators can get inside. And while they search for a cause, questions around the neighborhood start with why. After the second explosion at this plant in 21 years, why should it be allowed to operate in a residential neighborhood?
I want to make very clear, we hear those concerns of the neighbors loud and clear. We definitely, today is not the day to have those conversations with the company. We are focused on the victims, their family, finding out what happened, providing support to all of the victims' families. But we hear the concerns of the neighbors loud and clear, and that certainly will be something on our mind as we talk about the future.
A California man is facing numerous charges after he allegedly murdered a couple and set their bodies on fire. Police say 30-year-old Hong Tong Gong fatally shot King Ling Wang, put his body in Wang's Tesla, and then drove it to Wang's home. Gong, reportedly one of Wang's business associates, owed him $80,000. After attacking Wang's wife, he drove her car to a desert in San Bernardino, where he killed her and burned her body. Police say Gong then went to pick up Wang's body, which he burned in a desert in Riverside County. Gong then allegedly drove the 2 cars to separate deserts and burned them. Police say Gong returned to the couple's home where he stole roughly $250,000 worth of goods. Gong was arrested last week and is facing numerous charges, including murder, kidnapping, and arson.
A 5-year-old boy is alive in Ohio thanks to the action of 2 police officers. They happened to be in the right place at the right time. Tom Bosco has the story.
It all started along this stretch of Center Street in London. Officer Dylan Fout and his trainee, Officer Denise Dye, spot a little boy walking alone.
I said, "Did you see the kid?" And she said, "Yeah." This is a little odd. I mean, it's dark out. There's no parents around. We should turn around and see, where his parents are and see what's going on.
That's when the child vanished. At the same time, a call on their radios about a missing 5-year-old, nonverbal, on the autism spectrum. Fout had a feeling.
Something was telling me, water, water.
Officer Dye's body camera shows what happened next. The water was exactly where the officers found the boy, floating in Oak Run. He was face up, but Fout says he was breathing in water.
I just reacted. I know that I just instantly went down to the water. I can't really tell you what was going through my head because it's just, a natural reaction, I guess, for me. I was like, I have to go do something.
There should be a blanket in the back of the
water, 40 degrees. The boy spitting up water, but he was otherwise fine. He was checked out at the hospital. Both the officer and his proud boss say this likely wouldn't have had a good outcome if not for Fout noticing the boy earlier.
I don't think it would have ended well, to be honest with you, sir.
The water was deep enough that it would have been tragic if somebody wasn't there, and we're just grateful that it worked out that the officers were there at the right place at the right time. I truly believe he did heroic actions by just being diligent and doing his job.
I'm still trying to process it, but yes, I think it is part of the job. I mean, it's something that I signed up for.
That will do it for national news. Coming up next is Annabelle Bagley with business and entertainment. But first, let's take a step outside with Brett Gambita for a quick look at the weather.
The old man was snoring, if you know what I mean, a little bit earlier. We got a little bit of a break in the action right now with the rain. Stay tuned for a full update later on. This is the Newscast, live at 5.
Welcome back to the Newscast. I'm Annabelle Bagley with your business and entertainment update. The number of E. coli cases tied to the McDonald's Quarter Pounder has now surpassed 100. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have reported 104 illnesses, which include 34 hospitalizations and even 1 death. Those cases are spread across 14 states. The source of the bacteria is thought to be the slivered onions used on the burger. They were recalled last month. The CDC says those onions would also be past their shelf life by now, so the risk of new infections is low. That doesn't mean the number of cases won't rise. It can take weeks to determine whether an illness is a part of a breakout. Also, the majority of illnesses were likely never reported as people recovered at home without medical intervention. A Chipotle shareholder is suing the chain over a viral social media complaint about skimpy portion sizes. The proposed class action lawsuit filed Monday claims Chipotle understated customers' dissatisfaction. They detailed, quote, highly inconsistent, end quote, portion sizes in the suit. The lawsuit cited that a Wells Fargo analyst ordered 75 burrito bowls to test portion sizes, and they found that the consistency of the portions varied widely. Customers suggest that the chain is downsizing portions without lowering prices and cutting down on quality. The proposed class action would make eligible anyone who purchased or sold Chipotle stock from February 8th to October 29th, 2024. Now is the time to start thinking about whether you want to make changes to one of your retirement accounts for 2025. And the IRS just raised how much money you can put into your 401k plan. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at the latest changes and how much you should be putting away for your retirement.
You'll be able to put more money into a 401k retirement account in 2025. That's because the IRS announced new changes. Next year, you'll be able to contribute up to $23,500. That's up $500 from this year.
It may not seem like a big increase, but over the long run, it can make a substantial difference.
Sabino Vargas, a senior financial advisor at Vanguard, recommends 12 to 15% of your annual income should be put towards retirement savings. So, if you're making $50,000 a year, you ideally should be putting between $6,000 to $7,500 in an account such as a 401k. And look into what your company offers. Many will match what you put in up to a certain number.
Contribute enough to get your employer match. That way you're not leaving any money on the table.
Vanguard financial planners advise people should plan to spend between 75 to 85% of their current income each year once they retire. Contributing to a 401k also has tax benefits. That money is taken out before federal taxes, so it lowers your taxable income. Vargas also recommends taking advantage of your company's health savings account, or HSA.
Money goes in pre-tax, money gross tax deferred, and money can come out tax-free as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses.
Vargas also recommends to start saving at a young age. Contribute what you can. Anything is better than nothing, and put more money away as you progress in your career. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
After 6 months of a steady downward trend, inflation has hit a bump in the road. A new index out this morning, and one closely watched by the Federal Reserve, shows that prices customers pay for most goods and services ticked up a little last month. One economic expert says this inflation hiccup could pale in comparison to what's ahead under a new administration. Laura Aguirre reports.
The Consumer Price Index out this morning from the Labor Department shows a 0.2% rise last month, which is a 2.6% increase year over year. The October reading is also a slight step back from the Fed's long-held goal of 2%.
Our policy stance, strength in the economy and the labor market can be maintained, with inflation moving sustainably down to 2%.
Chairman Jerome Powell announced another quarter-point drop last week, right after the presidential election.
We've learned from the election just how toxic inflation and high prices and high interest rates are to the American people.
Economist Larry Summers served as Treasury Secretary in the Clinton administration and is the former director of the National Economic Council.
The Fed has been in too much of a hurry to cut interest rates and much too much of a hurry to promise future interest rate cuts.
While Summers has concerns about the pace of Powell's strategy, many consumers had been waiting for a drop in rates to make things like homes, vehicles, and credit cards less expensive. Taking a closer look at the CPI numbers, energy costs appeared to stay steady after a string of recent monthly declines. Used vehicle prices jumped 2.7%, and airline fares also climbed 3.2%. One drop in something most of us use every week, gas prices, down nearly 0.1 of a percentage point across all fuel types. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Movie news now, here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
With the Denzel signature on? I don't know what that is, but...
Denzel Washington says he won't put his signature on too many more movies before he retires, but one could be a Marvel movie. The Oscar winner, who'll be 70 next month, told Australia's Today Show he has just a few more projects in mind, and that, quote, Ryan Coogler is writing a part for me in the next Black Panther. Marvel has yet to officially announce a third Black Panther movie.
There's always an element of trepidation and fear.
Taron Egerton is set to bring the fear. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the Golden Globe winner has joined the cast of the thriller Apex. He'll play a psychopath stalking a rock climber played by Oscar winner Charlize Theron out in the wilderness. Shawn Mendes is unveiling his latest album, Shawn, with a special theatrical event. Shawn Mendes for Friends and Family Only, a live concert film, is in theaters one night only, Thursday, November 14th, with the album dropping Friday the 15th. Theater locations and other info at friendsandfamilyfilm.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That will do it for your business and entertainment update. I'm Annabelle Bagley. When we return on the newscast, Seth Adams has your sports.
Welcome back to the newscast live at 5. I'm Seth Adams with your sports for today. Today, esports is the only jacket action we see, with Rocket League taking on the University of Tennessee at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, the Waynesburg University women's basketball team is back to face Carlo at home after a 74-60 win over Hood College on Tuesday. The women are starting their season at 2-0 for the first time since the 2011-2012 season. Tip-off for that game is at 7 p.m. Waynesburg University men's basketball is not playing until Saturday at home against Oberlin. The men are 0-2 after an 83-68 loss on the road versus Pitt Greensburg. Tip-off will be at 2 p.m. and the game will be streamed on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. Ethan Czarski and Michael McKenzie are on the call. The Waynesburg University football team is on the road for their final game of the season against Geneva. The Jackets are currently sitting at a 4-5 on the year and have a chance to reach a record of 500 for the first time since 2014. Geneva also sits at 4-5, and the winner of this game will finish 6th in the President's Athletic Conference. Kickoff is at 1 p.m., and I and Logan Arblash will be on the call on WCYJ FM. Waynesburg University men's and women's cross country will be competing in the Mid-Atlantic Regional in Lock Haven on Saturday. The competition starts at 11 in the morning with the women running first, then the men run at 12. Waynesburg University men's wrestling is competing on Sunday and hosting the Waynesburg Duels. They're battling out between Penn State Barron, Shippensburg, and Mount Union. The duels start at 2 p.m. Waynesburg University women's wrestling is also in action, and they're competing in the Millersville Open on Sunday. Transitioning to the D1 level, the 3-0 Pitt Panthers and the 2-0 WVU Mountaineers are going at it tomorrow at 8. The last time these two played, Pitt took the win 80-63 last December. Pitt Panthers football also plays this week against the 17th-ranked Clemson. Pitt is coming off a 24-19 loss against Virginia and look to bounce back after a longtime opponent. Kickoff is at noon. For Pittsburgh sports, the Penguins are coming off a horrible week with a 7-1 loss against the Dallas Stars on Monday and a 3-2 overtime loss against the Detroit Red Wings. The Pens are 6-9-3 and sit 6th in the Metropolitan Division. They are in action tomorrow on the road against the 5-8-2 Columbus Blue Jackets. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. It's rivalry week in Pittsburgh as the Steelers are ready to take on the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday. The Steelers are in first in the AFC North with a 7-2 record behind the Ravens, who are right behind them with a 7-3 record. The Steelers have won 7 of the last 8 matchups. I guess we will see Sunday if the streak continues. That's all I got for you guys. When we come back, Brett Gambita has your weather.
Welcome back into the Newscast live at 5. I'm Brett Gambita with your weather. It is currently 48 degrees outside in Waynesburg, and it has been raining on and off since 8 a.m. Makes me want to say, rain, rain, go away. Hope you had your umbrella today, folks. The rain will stop within the next hour, and temperatures will fall overnight to about 45 degrees. Good news, though, the rest of the week, there's no major chance of rain in the forecast. But that doesn't mean the sun is going to come out all that often, so expect some mostly cloudy days. Friday is a low of 44 and a high of 55. Saturday brings a low of 42 with a high of yet again 55. Steelers Sunday has a low of 38 and a high of 58, although most of you will probably be indoors glued to your TVs. Monday will bring a low of 46 and a high of 57. Tuesday, the sun will peak out a little more with a low of 46 and a high of 59. Wednesday has a low of 47 and a high of 60. And 1 week from today, next Thursday, brings a low of 39 and a high of 54. That's all I have for your weather. Back up to Meg Berry and Mia Hankins.
That will do it for the Newscast live at 5. For everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, thank you for watching.
Stay tuned on our WCTV YouTube page and social media platforms for more Waynesburg content.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.